guides you in your spiritual life. It guides you in your social life. It guides you in your economic life. This verse is about socio-economic lives of Muslims. In fact, it guides you in your political life. Anything. So we are done with the spiritual aspect of it for a while now. We are being moved to another level, which is part and parcel of our life. A Muslim must know that in Islam, you don't abandon any segment or any facet for another. Allah tells us clearly, وَابْتَغِ فِي مَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةِ وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. That is Islam for you. Allah says clearly, وَابْتَغِ فِي مَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةِ. Yes, seek the next world, the enjoyment of the next world, Al-Jannah. Yes, you must seek that while alive. But even in so doing, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Don't forget your portion, your right, your share of this world too. Pursue that too. As you are pursuing the enjoyment of the hereafter, pursue your welfare, your enjoyment, your well-being, even in this life. That shows a religion that is complete. It's a complete way of life. It's not just telling you what to do to please Almighty Allah. Even how you can live peacefully, how you can live without trouble, without rancor among yourselves, by knowing the rules that guide your social, your economic, your political, and whatever life. Now, what is this verse telling us? Another level. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ. Amwal means properties, what you own. This is going to tell you what should be our attitude. And what belongs to you as different from what belongs to me. There must be a clear demarcation between what belongs to me and what belongs to you, and what belongs to him and what belongs to her. If you take what belongs to him, what belongs to her, you are in trouble. You are disrupting the social life, the social setting of life. When you go on and steal another man's money, another woman's money, you are disrupting that arrangement, It will lead to more complicated circumstance. You will create more problems. And this is what Almighty Allah is telling us here. Even your properties, we have a rule for you to be followed. Not just in spiritual activities alone. It's telling us clearly, Amwalukum, your money, your properties, what belongs to Mr. A should not be unjustly taken by Mr. B. What belongs to Mr. C, Mr. B must not find a way of cheating him of his property. It's not allowed if you know your religion as a Muslim. Your religion of Islam must tell you clearly, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ. Never must you consume, never must you eat, never must you take over the properties of others unjustly. Unjustly. That is the qualification. It means if you have a just way, a legitimate way, you can eat my money. There's no problem in Islam. But it has to be what? Justly. I can eat from your money. I can eat your money. I can consume. I can take your property. But it has to be what? Justly. How do you take my property justly? In many ways. You can buy my property with my consent. You can take the lease of what belongs to me, my house, my car. Give me, I will pay you. Those are just ways allowed of taking one another's property. But prohibited for you is to take another man's property unjustly. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ. On this note, please, let us be aware of this fact. Islam, again we are saying it, is a total way of life. It may surprise you. Let me break that news to you. That on the day of resurrection, some people will go to hellfire, not on account of not praying obligatory prayers. Some people will end up in hellfire, not on account of not fasting in the month of Ramadan. Some people will enter fire, hellfire, Jahannam, on the day of resurrection. Even they perform Hajj every year. Even they pay zakat as and when due. But what will take them to Jahannam? وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ is the illegal, unjust consumption, eating, taking over of what belongs to others. And in a clear way, the Prophet ﷺ in one hadith explaining this, he threw a question to the companions, testing their intellectual ability. He told them on that occasion, أَتَدْرُونَ مَنِ الْمُفْلِسِ Do you know who is a bankrupt? Bankruptcy is a financial term. It's even a legal term. Then the Prophet asked his companions, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do you know who is the real bankrupt? Innocently, they answered based on their experiences. Or they said, we know. Al-muflisu minna man la dirham lahu wala dinar. We know a bankrupt is somebody that has zero balance in his account. That is the normal way to understand a bankrupt. He has nothing. Or he has, what do you call it? Liability that has overtaken his asset. Yes, he has 100,000, but he's in debt of 100 million. Does he have money? He doesn't. He said, no, don't worry. My account, I have 100,000. But you are in debt to the tune of 1 million. Do you have 100,000? You don't. That's the meaning of bankruptcy, literally. And that was the response. That was the reaction of the companions when they were asked, do you know who is the real bankrupt? They said, whoever has zero balance in his account or has more liability than asset. Then the Prophet ﷺ gave them the divine knowledge. You know, mundane knowledge, we can all have it. But the divine knowledge can only come from that source, from Almighty Allah. And the gateway to the source is the messenger. Let me quickly say that. Anybody that claims that when he was asleep or when he was dreaming, one angel came to him and tell him, do this, do that, stop deceiving yourself. The only gateway to your creator is the messenger. And the only messenger to us is Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because Shaitan will be playing with intelligence of some people, playing on their intelligence. Coming to them to say, no, don't pray again. You have reached the level. Wallah, you will be surprised to find yourself in company of Shaitan in Jahannam. May Allah preserve us. But not to get derailed, the Prophet ﷺ said in this hadith, divine knowledge is now coming. Who is the real bankrupt? He said the real bankrupt is not somebody that has no money in his bank account. It is somebody that goes to Al-Qiyamah, that dies with full record. He has record of Salat, always in the mosque, and yet a bankrupt. Can you reconcile the two? I'm coming. He has in his record the 5 obligatory prayers, always. Zakat, always, regularly. Fasting in the month of Ramadan, regularly. Going on Hajj, doing all what is good. But yet he's a bankrupt in the day of resurrection. Why will he become a bankrupt? Here's the reason. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ. Then the Prophet said, then Those records will be displayed. Oh, salat, full. Oh, zakat, full. Fasting, excellent. But Allah has already forewarned us. He said, you have two watchers. One on your right and the other on your left. The one on your right is the one recording all these good deeds. You prayed, recorded. You observe fasting, recorded. Nothing will miss. But on the other side, when you cheated someone, the angel on the other side has written it also. The day you embezzled the public money, it has been written. The day you took advantage of your partner in business that died suddenly, and his family member do not know his own share of the business, then you kept quiet. You became the sole owner of the business. You transformed into a multi-billionaire overnight. It has been recorded that he's spending from what belongs to another. Then on that day, what will happen? The Prophet ﷺ said, then Allah will say, okay, fine. Your good record, fantastic. Now we will open the other record. He has cheated someone. He has stolen his money. He has done this to this. He has done this to that. Then they will all come to say, what will be our position today? We want our right back. We want our right back. Then Allah will say, always just and always fear. I've told you that clearly while alive. Now today, if you have stolen 1 billion naira, you cannot even find 1 billion kobo to offset your debt on the day of resurrection. Anybody that is embezzling, that is unjustly eating what belongs to others, should listen carefully. You will not even have access to 1,000 naira, even 100 naira, even 1 naira, to say, okay, just take from my, okay, I will give you back, I will give you back. It's not possible again. Then would that be the end of the story? No. Because even let us assume you have access to your bank account. Those billions that you are just taking, keeping in your account, unjustly, unfairly. What belongs to thousands of people, you alone and your family are enjoying it. You will account for it. That's the truth. As a Muslim, you must know that and repent today. What will happen is very simple. Even if you have access to those billions on the day of resurrection, your creditors, those you have wronged, those whose rights you have taken, they will say, if you give us billions of naira today, of what benefit are they? They have no benefit. We don't take your naira today. We don't take your dollars today. They have no use to us. Then Allah will say, yes, I will display my justice. Nothing will go free. You will give them back their rights. But in what way? They will not go back, fall back on your record of good deeds. I'm telling you exactly, graphically, what is in that hadith. The Prophet said they will now go to the record of Salat and start removing. Okay, he wronged 10 people. Okay, take for this. Number 1. Okay, remain 80%. Okay, take for this. Remain 60%. If you are lucky, by the time they offset all your debt obligations, maybe you still have 40%. You are still lucky. But the Prophet says some people will become zero balance on that day. They will keep on removing from his salat. When salat finishes, they will go to zakat. When zakat finishes, they will go to hajj. And in that way, they will be removing to settle what you have eaten and forgotten in life. That's the irony. You will not even remember that enjoyment again. You have eaten it, or it has been eaten in your name. Because the problem with people stealing billions today is that how much are they enjoying of those billions? It is others that will enjoy on their behalf. But you are the one who embezzled it. And you will account for all. So please let us ruminate and reflect on verses like this and all verses of Al-Quran. It doesn't end there that I've prayed, I've observed Ramadan, I have given zakat, I'm obedient, I was good to my parents. Yes, all those ones are good in your record of good deeds. But be mindful of the other side. It doesn't go away. If you steal another man's money, you force someone to pay bribe for you to do what you have been paid for. Rishwa is haram in Islam. Bribery is haram. A job is your routine, normal duty, but you won't do it unless you are tipped, unless somebody gives you something. That's how we are today. In most cases, Nigerians and others. You will account for that. And in accounting for that, it will be in a very detrimental way. That your money, the money you stole, the money you embezzled, the money you cheated others, the properties you cornered, they will be of no use. Then you will be sacrificing your salat. You'll be sacrificing your siyam. You'll be sacrificing your hajj. Some people, as the Prophet said, they will take everything. Nothing will be left of his salat, of his siyam. You may want to ask me, then that will be all. It's not all, oh. That's why Allah has sent a messenger to us to give us all these warnings. Even upon that, if they have taken all your salat, because you have many, you have wronged so many people, you have cheated so many, it doesn't end there. Almighty Allah would say, okay, has it settled all the... He said, no, there are still some people. I said, no, don't worry. Go back to the bad records of those people and start taking from their own bad record and register in his name. Exactly. So someone that has full record of Salah Siyam in the beginning will end up having full record of zina that he did not commit. full record of theft that he did not commit. Because he has wronged so many people. And they will take their rights. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ. May Almighty Allah continue to guide us aright. And let us have listening ears and ability to understand and comprehend all these and mend our ways. Especially, as I said, what baffles me, Madam, is that the moment you started having hundreds of millions, it is no more your money. And subhanallah, the Prophet also warned us in that regard. One day he gathered his companions again and asked them, he used to put to them some questions, rhetorically, to test them. One day he also questioned them in another way, in a very intelligent way. Look, amongst you, who will prefer the money of others over and above his own money? They all said, why? If someone is sane, if someone is not mad, everybody will prefer his own money over and above money belonging to others. Then the Prophet said, hey, now let me give you the divine knowledge. That is your own level of mundane knowledge. Then the Prophet said, do you know that your own money is only what you spent? Your own money is only what you ate. Your own money is only what you enjoyed. Whatever you accumulate and left behind while you are living this world belongs to others, but you will account for it. By the time you start having unreasonable amount of money in your account, you are already accumulating money of others, not your money. But the danger is you are the one that accumulated it, and you must account for them, no matter how big. You know, those who will eat that money, they have only one question. Did they use it in the right way? If they are clever enough, they will just be building mosque with your money. They will take 10%, build a mosque, and eat and enjoy themselves with 90%. Allah will reward them. Not you. And you will account. Because they did not tell you go and steal. A lot of people are stealing and embezzling because of their grandchildren. They will never see. Because imagine, what does a man need hundreds of billions for God's sake? We have to close here, but let me mention one pathetic example that maybe may get to their listening ears, those who are still behaving recklessly, amazing, gathering, accumulating unnecessarily wealth, common wealth belonging to others. You will be accountable. On the day I heard it in the news that a president of an African country died, and madam, did you know how he died? He died quietly in a hotel room, and nobody knew he was there because he was removed from power, and he was running away from one country to another to escape being arrested and being brought back to face justice. You know the country. The name of that man is Mobutu Sese Seko. Mobutu Sese Seko, when he was chased out of power, he was removed from power, he started running from one country to another. He ended up dying in a hotel in Morocco. And nobody knew he was even inside. He checked in as a normal human being, a normal, ordinary man. It was the odor, the bad odor of his smelling corpse that alerted the hotel cleaners to say, what is happening in this room? And they forced the door, a president, a former president, they forced the door open and found his dead body. But you know that on that day, Mobutu had in his foreign account 80 billion US dollars. Yes, you can go and verify this. It was in the news. Mobutu had 80 billion US dollars in his name and died just like that. He will account for it. And the Oyimbos, they are very clever. They know how to enjoy those 80 billion. His country, since that year, they have been moving from one court to another to get the money back. They may end up giving them, but after they must have enjoyed the good part of it. Mobutu died maybe almost 20 years or 15 years ago. In fact, his people are still suffering up till today. In Africa, the country is one of the richest in terms of natural resources. It is today called Congo. In fact, his countrymen were angry on him to the extent that they changed the name of that country after him. Because they said he was the one who named it Zaire. You have all forgotten. When we were in primary, secondary school, we knew Zaire. You can never find Zaire on the map again. They were angry with him to the extent of saying, we don't even want to hear that name again. We want our country to be renamed. Of what essence? Of what benefit? If you go to Congo today, poverty there is something you can never imagine. And you can Google that. It's one of the most, the richest, the most blessed on the continent in terms of many mineral resources. So this is a lesson. Everybody will die one day. Almighty Allah give us long life in good health and on the path that will please him to him. But before it is late, please, everybody should retrace his steps or our steps. And it is not only those who stole or embezzled billions. Even those of you that have a way of taking from your cooperative thousands. It's part of it, you. They will ask you on the day of resurrection, cooperative money that you are stealing. In fact, Malam, it's as bad as people are stealing from the mosque these days. Treasurers of mosques are stealing. Yes. My former vice chancellor told us a story one day. Maybe you listen to him too. Because my former vice chancellor was Professor Loyede, JAMB registrar, as the Secretary General of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. He had the information. He saw it himself. People stealing from Fi Sabilillah of the National Mosque. What kind of people are we? So we are not, don't just think it is those who take billions that the verse is addressing. It's addressing all over. Even those that are taking hundreds, thousands, please retrace your steps. Tens, whatever you take that does not belong to you. Allah is telling you, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ. May Almighty Allah continue to show us the right path and give us the courage to follow same. وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Mala Abdullah, I think we have already written questions. Yesterday? I don't think so. Okay, they are yesterday questions. Oh, alhamdulillah. So if you have questions now, we can take. Okay, they are for yesterday. Okay. Do we have new questions for today? Okay, and our time is fast spent too. Maybe we call it a day for today. The question is coming. Okay, doctor. Thank you very much. It's a very good question. That if you commit a sin, a wrongful act, but not out of your own volition, but because of a policy that is in place that forced you to do that, what will be is that? Okay. What will be your position on the day of resurrection? You see, one thing is very clear. According to Ibn Abbas, radiyallahu anhuma, in a very authentic narration, Ibn Abbas reported that every single soul will stand before Almighty Allah to account for his or her deeds. No representation on the day of resurrection. In fact, a question that may be agitating some minds was immediately addressed. That what of if he doesn't understand Arabic? And Arabic is the language of danger. And practically, it requires some level of courage. Some level of courage to say no when you are to say no. And if it requires quitting sometimes, it may not be too much to save yourself the danger. Finally, Almighty Allah is very merciful. If He now sees that something becomes unavoidably necessary, I'm using the two words advisedly, unavoidably necessary, then He knows. Because it's as dangerous that some people may even threaten your life because you refuse to do the way they do. Then if that is the case, leave that to Almighty Allah. He knows circumstances like that. And anything that is beyond your power, beyond your ability, He has assured you that you will never be punished for that. La yukallifu Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. But this case, the final one that I mentioned, you will discover that it accounts for less than 1% of atrocities that have been committed. Less than 1%. we should face it. We should be truthful, be honest with ourselves. 99 point something percent are willful act, voluntarily done. Because of the attraction, everybody wants to become rich. And I wonder if we are all rich. The life will not become, we will not enjoy the life again. That's it. We don't know that Almighty Allah has wisdom in everything. Tell me, if we are all billionaires, who will clean your house? He also has his own billion. How will he come to become a cleaner? Who will be your driver? So please let us know that Almighty Allah has a plan for us, and keep all our acts, all our actions and inaction within the limit of that plan, the divine plan of Almighty Allah. So that is my answer to that one. Individual responsibility, we must always be conscious of that. It's not an excuse that because I belong to a group, because we are in group, because we did it as a group. No. Everybody will stand before Almighty Allah to account for his or her deeds. But in circumstances where it becomes unavoidably necessary, he knows. Allahu Ta'ala A'lam. On this note, we thank Almighty Allah for giving us this opportunity, and we hope He will extend more to us. Same time, same place tomorrow, we will continue the Tafsir session. May Allah make it easy. Wa sallallahu wa sallim wa barik ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.